What's up, fam? Coach Cam, and in this video I want to discuss why are people so obsessed with cardio. And you have people from all walks of life obsessing over cardio. You have people that obviously it's their sport, right? Distance running, track, rowing, swimming, cycling. Like obviously those people have a sport to do. But for everybody else, I don't think it's something you need to obsess over. And if you properly train with weights, you will be increasing your cardiovascular fitness in a generic sense throughout your entire body. It may not transfer directly to running, swimming, biking, rowing, but that's okay. Those are very niche, specific sports. If you have a fit cardiovascular system and you lift weights and you are a fit person, meaning basically when I say that, what I mean is you train to failure on your lifts, you progress over time, you have a low body fat percentage compared especially to the generic population, right? So probably as a guy, maybe like 18% or lower, and women like 28% or lower. Generally women's body fat percentages are like 10% higher than men's. But you should be fit enough to run or to swim or bike or row if you had to, or if you chose to perform that as if it's a sport. But it doesn't mean you need to add that into your training plan if you're a high intensity lifter. If you are progressing over time, you're making gains, your body is getting stronger and you are getting fitter. There's not really a such thing as being fit and out of shape. Like, how can you be both? How can you be fit and out of shape? You can't be. Like, either you're fit or you're out of shape. And you can be fit and have strong muscles. If you're leaner, like I said, your cardiovascular system will be highly active and highly present and adapted. Now, if you don't train very hard, or if your sets take like 2 seconds and you just do like 2 rep maxes all the time, then yeah, you're not going to have trained your cardiovascular system. So you want to pick a moderate weight, and you want your training sets to last about a minute. That's what I prefer. And I recommend a broader range of about 45 seconds on the short end, 40 seconds maybe, and then the high end like a minute and a half. But somewhere in that range, you want each of your training sets to be. That's what I recommend to get the most stimulus, not just for cardio, but for muscle size and strength. From my perspective, cardio is just not something to obsess over. And that's coming from someone like myself who has run competitively for 7 years. I ran all 4 years of high school, 3 years in college, did it off and on after that. And I even still run maybe 3 times every like 2 weeks or so right now. Like, not very often, but I run because I like it and I'm decent at it and it feels good. Like, it feels good. I had a race I was training for back in September, already ran it, but I'm still cruising. I'm still running some because I just feel a little bit better running. And that's going to bring me to a point that is hard for me to say, but I'm still going to say it. I think there is something more that I get in my fitness when I run consistently. And I don't know how to describe it or what physiologically that it factor is, but something is better in my fitness from running. I think it's just having your heart rate high or moderate to high for 20 minutes at a time. Like, I basically go for 3-mile runs every time. And something about it, I feel personally more physically prepared in general, in all aspects of life, from just having that little bit of running in my plan. I think it's probably psychological. Like, I don't think there's really a physiological reason, And I just feel slightly better, just slightly, than compared to just doing the weight training. That's just me speaking from personal experience. Some people are going to disagree and they never run, they hate it, they don't ever want to think about doing it. If that's you, that's fine. I don't think it's necessary. But I'm just saying from my personal experience, I feel a little bit quicker, a little bit lighter, a little bit like I have a little bit more endurance from having consistent runs in my routine. And I probably will keep that as long as I weigh a lighter weight. I've run in the past weighing, in the 180s, in the high 180s up to like 190 pounds, and it was not very fun. Your calves hurt more because you're putting a lot more force into the ground. It's just not as fun. And it feels more challenging, and you don't feel like you're getting fitter. And that brings me to my next point, which is if you lose body fat, your endurance / cardio fitness, however you want to call it, will improve. I've noticed this, and most people notice this, yet no one's talking about it. A lot of people believe that you need to run or perform metabolic conditioning, perform circuit style training in order to burn fat or lose fat. And that's simply not true. You do not need to do those things to lose fat. You need to eat less calories. You need to be in a calorie deficit. Obviously, you've heard that a million times. So eat less food in a day. If you want to keep the same foods that you're eating, that's fine. You just have to eat less of them, right? So maybe eat like 2/3 of breakfast, 2/3 of your lunch, 2/3 of your dinner, and be weighing yourself consistently so you can see, is that working or is that not working? Do you need to change what you're doing? So it's important to track your weight so that you can see if it's working or not. I personally don't track calories. However, if you want to do that, be my guest. But if you lose body fat, you will find that your cardiovascular fitness improves. So that begs the question, why are people spending so much of their time on cardio, pushing themselves so hard, doing metabolic conditioning circuits, running, biking, whatever it is, unless you really love it? If you love it, keep doing it. I have no problem with you training every day, multiple times a day. If you love to do it, nobody can tell you otherwise. And I'm not here to bash you or try to convince you to change if you love what you're doing. But for everybody else who's trying to get a benefit out of this, I think most of the benefit will be gained by losing body fat, by changing your diet. And then if you are someone who's skinny, smaller, weaker, has less muscle mass, maybe you're younger, right? I used to coach cross country and track for 3 years. High schoolers, right? These guys were thin, tiny, right? If that's you and you are not running cross country and track, you're just a skinny, smaller person, I recommend lifting weights to improve your cardiovascular system. Now, that might sound backwards, but hear me out. If you see a skinny, smaller, young man, and he says he wants to go run cross country, so for this example, he's going to go run 3 to 5 miles, maybe more, every day, right? And over time, he will get better at the 5K, for example. His 5K time will improve if he races it. However, he has a high risk of injury because he has very little muscle mass or supporting tissue to support such a repetitive activity. And so what happens to him is he gets injured. Now he loses some of that fitness that he gained. Mind you, we'll say at least half of the fitness he gained in improving his 5K time came from neurological improvements. Just practicing running got him better at running. So let's not forget that. Just practicing the thing gets you better at that movement pattern. Your body has a brain and spinal cord that innervate muscle fibers, and it helps them improve at movement patterns. So this young boy is now hurt and weak, and he can't do the one thing that he trained his body to do, which was to run. Instead, if he were to lift weights, he can challenge all of the muscles of his body, including his arms, his back, his chest, and all of his legs, with enough mechanical tension and stress to produce muscle hypertrophy, right? So he will not only be stronger and have more muscle mass, which is very important for his health, his longevity, and his fitness, he will also have improved his cardiovascular system, provided, like I said, he's training hard. He's training to failure in the gym, especially with compound lifts, right? So yeah, is calf raises and forearm, like wrist curls, is that going to get you a cardiovascular stimulus? No, probably not, right? No one's out of breath doing wrist curls. But if you're doing squats, that is very taxing on your cardiovascular system, your blood pressure. Your entire body is engaged with squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, dips, push-ups, rows, the whole nine, right? So the point here is you are training your cardiovascular system when you train any muscle of your body and contract it. That's all running is contracting your leg muscles with a light resistance over and over again, right? And if you run really slow, it's too light to ever put you into an anaerobic state. However, if you run faster, your legs start to burn, and now you can't sustain that for very much longer because you have now crossed over into what's called the anaerobic threshold. Well, guess what? When you're lifting weights and you push your muscles to failure, that burn in your muscles, that's because you crossed over the anaerobic threshold and you're using a resistance that you cannot continue the exercise for minutes on end or hours on end. It has to come to a halt because you have now are producing more byproducts of anaerobic metabolism that your body cannot remove fast enough. So we'll accumulate hydrogen ions and you will accumulate fatigue until the set is over with. So it's the same system, okay? It's oxidative phosphorylation, which is aerobic metabolism, and then you have glycolysis, which is anaerobic metabolism. These are both intertwined and are happening together at the same time, whether you're running slow or running fast, whether you're lifting light weights or heavy weights, whether you're training to failure or leaving reps in reserve, they all are participating in this song and dance, and what you're getting is cardiovascular response. So, it's important to train all of the muscles of your body and to progress over time to get stronger and bigger. You want more muscle mass naturally. You want more strength naturally. And thankfully for you, you don't have to go out of your way to do a movement for 20 or 30 minutes at a time to get this response. You will get it simply from contracting muscles very intensely, crossing over the anaerobic threshold, because when you are performing anaerobic exercise, you've already tapped out maximally your aerobic potential and your aerobic fitness. So you are getting that aerobic cardio. You're actually going beyond that and training harder than that. So hopefully this video helped you guys understand training harder gets you the same benefits as easy training, but more. So train all the muscles of your body, like, share, comment, and subscribe.